Hello, what's up, my little pretties? It's your mistress, the Queen of Lions here, and welcome back to another episode of Shadows and Pretties. This episode is 109, so today I am going to be doing a movie um called Ice Age. Now today I'm going to be, kind of, talking about the movie Ice Age, which is the original movie that came out in 2002. This was made by, 20th Century Fox Studios. Blue Sky Studios before Walt Disney took over. And since Blue Sky Studio has unfortunately shut down this year, this is basically me paying my respects to Blue Sky Studios for making this awesome movie series, and that's the first Ice Age movie. So, yeah, most of you guys who grew up in the early 2000s, maybe mid 2000s, you might have remembered, watching these movies as a kid. So, with that being the case and that being said, let me get started with this. So, this movie, stars Ray Romano as Manny, John Leguizamo as Sid, and Dennis Leary as Diego. There is also four other movies such as The Meltdown, Dawn of the Dinosaurs, On Continental Drift, and The Collusion Course, which I will be talking about those films in another time. But as for this, I thought, you know what, I would talk about this movie. So, it is one of the anime. It got like the 75th Academy Awards for the best animated feature film, losing to Spirit Away, unfortunately. But I talked about that in another video. Of course, it was a box office success as it started the Ice Age franchise. So yeah, I'm gonna be basically, talking about what the movie's about, just to refresh everyone's memories if they haven't, watched the movie in like years and all that. Like for those who haven't seen the movie in like a really long time, this is like a really great refresher. Very unfortunate that Blue Sky Studios unfortunately shut down this year. So this is kind of me sitting there and paying my respects to Blue Sky Studios for making an awesome movie series. So, with that being the case, and with that being said, there are other short films of the Ice Age series, which they were released later, during, took place sometime around 2002 and 2016. So, anyways, we have a squirrel or saber-toothed squirrel named Scrat who attempts to find a place to store his acorn for winter, and eventually he gets stomped into the ground, but causes a large crack from the ice that extends miles before setting off avalanches and all that. And this has been actually, the main reason why, Ice Age movies are that great. But we're going to get to how they're mainly just as good and original how, other movies are. Like the comedy and everything about these movies are just flat out amazing. So, basically, we find that the animals are, well, migrating south in order to escape the forthcoming ice age, which is it's a time period. So this one takes place like years ago, which we eventually have Sid, who is a clumsy ground sloth, who is left behind by his family and decides to move by himself. But he gets attacked by two rhinoceroses, some like creatures, after ruining their meal and making them angry. But Manny, who is a woolly mammoth, eventually saves Sid, heading north, who fights the rhinos off and continues for his path. So eventually Sid joins Manny, not wanting to be alone or unprotected. So Manny is annoyed with Sid, outgoing demeanor, and wishes to migrate on his own, but Sid, nevertheless, continues to follow Manny for a while. So Soto, who is the leader of the saber-toothed tiger pack, wants revenge on the human tribes for killing half of his pack and eating the chief's infant son, that Roseanne, which is the Ice Age baby. That a lot of people, I'm gonna say, a lot of people really make memes of it, and I've seen videos of it, so it's pretty something. Now, Soto leads, to raid the human camp, which of course, Roseanne's mother flees with her son, cornered by, Soto's lieutenant named Diego, who leaps down from the waterfall. But as punishment for failure to retrieve the boy, Diego is sent to find him and retrieve him, while the rest of the pack waits for him at the mountains at the half peak. So if he fails, he will be killed in, Roseanne's place. So later, Sid and Manny encounter the mother struggling out of the lake, and they ended up taking Roseanne. And of course, before she dies and disappears into the water, Sid ends up persuading Manny to return to the baby when they reach the human settlement. But once they do find it, it's deserted, and they meet up with Diego, who convinces the pair to help him track down the humans. So on the fourth level, with Diego secretly leading them to a half peak where the pack is waiting to ambush them, they encounter several misadventures along their way. When the group eventually, comes across the cave, they end up having, a lot of paint drawings where Sid and Diego later on find out that Manny's past and his previous interactions with human hunters, such as in the way they slaughtered his family and consist of his mate and child, leaving Manny in a depressed loner, which is explains why Manny's been, a grouch for the entire movie, which we get that. So later the group almost reaches to their interactions with the human hunters when they get when a destination to Half Peak when they encounter a river and lava. So Manny and Diego and Sid, along with Roseanne, make it across safely. Of course, Diego ends up, getting stuck and is about to fall when Manny saves him. But of course, that's when Diego became friends with them. So the next day, the herd approaches, well, an ambush, which includes causing Diego to have full respect of Manny and saving his life, changes his mind about confessing to Manny and Sid about the ambush as the pair turn hostile towards them, and Diego pleads for their trust and tries not to foil the attack. So the herd battles Soto's pack despite their efforts, and Soto, though, and his associates manage to have ice to have a to be tries to kill Manny, but Diego jumps in and is injured and results. When Manny then knocks a distraction for onto a rock, causing several icicles to fall on top of Soto killing him. Now, of course, it is you don't see that happening, so that's the case. Horrified, the rest of the pack retreat, so Manny and Sid mourn for Diego's injury, which they believe it's fatal, and continue their journey without him. So the two manage to successfully return to Roseanne to his tribe, and into their surprise, Diego manages to rejoin them in time to see Roseanne leave, so the group begin to head off in the warmer climates. So now that's basically the Ice Age movie. So the last bit of part we see is 20,000 years later, Scrat is frozen on a block of ice and ends up on shore on a tropical island. As the ice slowly melts, the acorn was still frozen on the same block as it washed away. Then Scrat finds a coconut and tries to stomp it on the ground, only to accidentally trigger a volcano eruption. And that's just basically how the movie ends. Now, in my opinion, I really do like how, they had a great cast, for like John Leguizamo as Sid, Dennis Leary as Diego, Ray Romano as Manny. I really do like how, they have all these characters and they're always really funny. So the development was originally pitched to 20th Century Fox sometime in 1997, but of course it was originally envisaged as traditionally animated in the movie and with an action orientating comedy drama tone, but it was intended to be developed by, Don Bluth, and even Gary Goldman's Fox Animation Studios around the time. But Blue Sky Studios had a small visual effects studio was bought out by Fox and reshaped them into CGI animation film studio. So surprisingly, it was going to be made by Don Bluth, but fortunately enough, we see that Blue Sky Studios took over. So the story began developing in the spring of 1999, and the official production of the film began in 2000 in June, 1 week after the closure of Fox Animation Studios. So of course they end up having to work on the film for a long time. There was like writing and character development, animation was being put into it, and they really want to put a lot more efforts into these, which is why I really like how the animation went out. There's a voice cast of Ice Age that was encouraged to make up their own dialogue during the recording, as several lines in the film were improvised by different actors. And as for Manny the Mammoth, the studio was intentionally looking at people with big voices, such as James Earl Jones, the voice of Mufasa, and, well, Irving Ramirez. I kind of don't remember, no Irving Ramirez. I might have heard him somewhere, but I'm not sure. Were considered, but they sounded too obvious and wedged for more comedy. So instead, the role was given to Ray Romano because they thought of his voice sounded very elephant like. And they described Romano's voice to be as deep, slow in delivery, but with sarcastic wit behind it. So of course, we have John Leguizamo, who did the voice for Sid the Sloth, experiment with over 40 the voices of the character, including slow-sounding voice to fit with the laser nature of the giant sloth. Leguizamo came up with the final voice trademark with the lateral the lisp of the character after watching the footage of sloths of learning that to store food in their pockets in the mouths and all that. They took that to be a really good, well, concept with this. So, okay. Now, the movie has a soundtrack that came out in 2002, and I would have to say the box office was a big success, and a lot of people really enjoyed this, and it was very, very surprising that it blew up like crazy after it. So there is definitely that. And I really do have to say, when I first saw this movie as a kid, I honestly really liked how the movie went out, with the whole concept and all that. Now, of course, it was released on VHS and DVD and Blu ray, and of course, it was included in Walt Disney's company's streaming service on Disney Plus sometime in 2020, which was sometime in March before the pandemic started. So, of course, Ice Age has several sequels such as The Meltdown, Dawn of the Dinosaurs, and etc., which is pretty crazy that they end up having to release a few more films, such as The Meltdown, which came out in 2006, Dawn of the Dinosaurs that came out in 2009, Continental Drift that came out in 2012, and Collusion Course that was released in 2016. Really would have to say that I really do like how funny that the concept of this movie was. I like how, with the animation and everything, I just really enjoy all of this. It's just obviously really good and well made. I really would have to say I really do find this one to be rather amazing with the whole, animation and all that. And I definitely, I'm just gonna say this right now, is that I haven't watched the first movie in like years. Like, I think I watched bits of it like maybe a few months ago. I haven't watched it in like a really long time, but I do plan to actually sit there and maybe watch the movie again. Like, maybe when I have time, I might consider that. But I really do like how the movie went out. It's still amazing. I still remember watching it back then as a kid. Really do find this one to be, amazing, really well done. I still think everyone should really like this movie. And I'm sure if you have kids, your kids will really like this movie if you were to show them to your kids. Now, I guess with that being the case, that being said, I love this movie. It's my childhood. Really do like it. And I will review the other Ice Age movies in the future. Not going to do them right now in this video because that way the video would be like over an hour. But I will talk about them in the later episodes. So anyways, that being the case, that being said, what did you guys think about this movie, Ice Age? You all enjoy it? Did you all not? Also, what we have done personally to help make the movie a lot better? Feel free to leave me know what your thoughts are down in the comment section down below. I'm the Queen of Lions. Thank you so much for watching today's episode. And if you happen to be brand new here on this channel, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe because I make brand new videos every single day. Don't forget to ring the notification bell when I upload, so that way you guys will not miss an upload. And as always, I guess I'll be seeing you in the next video. So peace out, everyone, and see you all later.